Hello everybody, hope all of you are well and always maintain the 6 feet distance in public places, use mask and often use sanitize your hands so that together we can win the fight against the COVID-19. First of all, Shubho Vichaya to all of you again. Okay, and today I will discuss practical class. I will discuss the theory of one practical. And the name of the practical is the identification of single salt. This is actually qualitative inorganic analysis, salt analysis. Okay, and identification of single salt will be there. One salt will be given. You have to identify that contains one basic radical and one acid radical. So you have to find out the basic radicals, that means cation, and acid radicals, that means anions. Now, what are in your syllabus? So, as acid radical in your syllabus, there is carbonate radical, nitrite radical, nitrate radical is there, sulfide radical is there, sulfate is there, chloride, bromide, iodide, oxalate, phosphate, and acetate radical is there. And as basic radical, that means cations, there is ammonium, lead plus 2, copper plus 2, aluminium 3 plus ion, ferric ion, zinc 2 plus ion, manganese 2 plus ion, nickel 2 plus ion, cobalt 2 plus ion, barium 2 plus ion, strontium 2 plus ion, calcium 2 plus ion, magnesium 2 plus ion. Sodium, potassium are not in your syllabus. And these cations, that means basic radicals, are divided into some groups. Okay. So, first one is the group 0 group. In your according to your syllabus, okay, 0 group, the cation will be the ammonium ion. Next one is the group 1. In group 1, the name of the cation is Pb plus 2. Next one is group 2. In group 2, the name of the cation will be copper 2 plus and lead 2 plus also. Copper 2 plus and lead 2 plus. Next one is group 3. In group 3, the type of cation will be here in your syllabus, that is Al3 plus and Fe3 plus. Aluminium ion and ferric ion. Next in group 4. Group 4 contains cations like zinc, manganese, nickel, cobalt. Zinc, manganese, nickel and cobalt. That is in your syllabus. Okay. Next in group 5. In group 5 the cations are barium, strontium and calcium. Barium 2 plus, strontium 2 plus and calcium 2 plus. These are the group 5 cations. And the last group is the group 6. Group 6 cation is the magnesium 2 plus. So hope you can remember these things, okay. And in your confirmatory test, when you write this cation, you have to mention that which group cation is present. There is mark to indicating the group, okay. Now, for weight test of anions, one thing you have to keep in mind, that sodium carbonate extract you have to write. Otherwise, you will not get full marks. Because for writing sodium carbonate, okay, if your sample is not a carbonate salt, then you have to write the sodium carbonate extract salt. That sodium carbonate extract, okay, you have to use for identifying the weight test for the acid. Okay. Next one, you have to keep in one thing in your mind, that insoluble salts such as lead sulfate, barium sulfate, calcium sulfate, these are not in syllabus. That will be not supplied. Okay, as well as by decomposition. Actually, now in your syllabus only one salt, so there is no case of decomposition or double decomposition of the salt. Okay. Now we will discuss what type of test we have to do. Generally, for the identification of an salt containing one basic radical and acid radicals, both for acid and basic radical, we have to perform two type of test. One is dry test, another is wet test. And one thing you have to keep in mind, from dry test we get the valuable information, but these are not the confirmatory tests. And wet tests are the confirmatory test for both the acid radical and basic radical. So whenever you want to confirm the acid radical or basic radical, you must have mentioned the wet test for the acid radical as well as basic radical. Now, first we have to do the dry test, and these tests are carried out with the given salt in a purely dry state. You have to take one dry test tube. If your test tube is not dried, then you have to wash thoroughly with water, then with acetone, then you have to apply heat in the Bunsen flame or spirit lamp. Okay. Then you have to make the test tube properly dry. Then you can perform this test. In exam time, all time the new dry test tube will be supplied. Okay. And these are not, I am telling again, these are not dry tests, are not the confirmatory test, but give some important information that will help you to identify the radicals. Next, what to do? Next, we have to do the physical or preliminary test. Some physical test. That is your first test, that the physical examination of the salt. Physical examination of salt. Now in physical examination, what you have to check? First you have to check the color. Then you have to check the smell. Then you can check the solubility. And insoluble salt will not be supplied. Then you have to check the density. Then finally you have to check the deliquescence property. So generally we know that transition metals are colored. So if your salt is colored, definitely there will be transition metal. We know that copper salts are generally blue in color, nickel salts are green in color, and ferric salts are generally dark brown color. So by observing the color of the salt, you can easily identify whether transition metal is present or not, or we can guess that what type of compound is present or what type of cation is present. Okay. Next one is the smell. So all of we know that touching the chemical is very much dangerous. So but here for this test you have to take a little amount of salt in your finger and you have to rub in your palm. Okay. And then you have to take the smell. If you get vinegar like smell, definitely there will be acetate. If you get ammonical smell, there may be ammonium salt. And if you get rotten egg smell, definitely there will be sulfide. Okay. But after doing this test, you have to wash your hands thoroughly. Okay. And use soap water. Okay. You know that all chemicals are poisonous. Okay. And don't during performing this test, don't eat anything in the laboratory, and don't put your hands in your mouth. Okay. And these salts, I am telling you, be very much dangerous and poisonous. Okay. So after doing this test, you have to wash your hand properly. Next one, we have to think. We have to know. Keep in mind one thing, that always use some spatula. Okay. When you are transferring the salt in a test tube. Okay. Next, we have to check the density. Okay. Density means if your salt is heavy, that means there may be red salt. If your salt is light, fluffy powder, then maybe there is magnesium, zinc or aluminum salt. Okay. And you have to check the solubility. We know that nitrate salts are water soluble. There may be some salt that will be soluble in HCl, maybe dilute HCl, maybe concentrated HCl, that you have to check. But insoluble salt will not be given. Okay. Insoluble salt, okay, special treatment is there, that is not in your syllabus. And deliquescent salt, that means it will absorb moisture. When you apply it will become liquid. It will absorb moisture from there and it will become liquid. This may be ferric chloride, maybe copper nitrate, maybe zinc salt, zinc chloride, maybe magnesium chloride, maybe calcium chloride. Okay, this type of salt will be there. So after doing this physical examination of the salt, okay, you have to take very little amount of salt for dry test tube heating. So you have to take one dry test tube and you have to add a pinch of salt inside this test tube, taking the you have to take the salt in a dry test tube, then you have to use holder. So whenever you will apply heat, okay, then you have to use holder. Then you have to heat this salt in Bunsen flame. During heating, there may be different types of observation. Okay, there may be evolution of gas, there may be color change, there may be sublimation, formation of sublimation. Okay, so in case of evolution of gas, suppose if you take the calcium carbonate, if you apply heat, definitely calcium carbonate will decompose. Calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so this carbon dioxide gas will evolve. That how to understand carbon dioxide gas is there. If you pass through lime water, it will turn milk. Okay, and cannot decolorize the KNO4 solution. From there you can easily understand. Suppose if you have calcium oxalate salt, if you apply heat, definitely there will be also formation of carbon dioxide as well as carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide will burn with the blue flame. If you take ammonium salt, definitely there will be formation of ammonia gas. Okay, when you take some HCl dipped glass rod near the ammonia gas, there will be dense white film of ammonium chloride. If you have Na2S like salt, sulfide salt, okay, if you apply heat, definitely there may be formation of H2S gas. In case of lead nitrate salt, whenever you will heat, there will be evolution of nitrogen dioxide gas, that is a reddish brown color gas. Okay, so from evolution of gas, you can get some idea what type of radical is present in your salt. Okay. Next one, the color change. Suppose your salt is zinc carbonate. So whenever you will apply heat, there will be formation of zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. And zinc oxide, when it is hot, it will become yellow, and when it is cold, it will become white. So there will be some color change. Suppose if you take lead salt, suppose lead carbonate, definitely when you will apply heat, there will be formation of lead oxide. Lead oxide, when it is hot, it is brown, and when it is cold, that is yellow. Okay. Suppose you have given blue vitriol salt. So definitely blue vitriol salt, when you apply heat, it will lose the water crystallizations and will become anhydrous. You know that anhydrous copper sulfate will be colorless, it is white. So from blue to there will be change of color into white. If you take nickel salt, hydrated nickel salt will be green color. Whenever you will apply heat, definitely it will form the nickel anhydrous. Okay, then it will change the color. Okay. Next, there may be formation of sublimation. Sublimation means when you are heating a solid, it will directly go into the gas, and the cooler portion there will be the gas will be condensed into solid, and there will be formation of sublimation. Okay, so this type of sublimation we can observe in case of ammonium chloride. Okay, so if we apply heat ammonium chloride, directly in solid state it will go to the gaseous state, and the upper portion, the cooler part of the test tube, it will sublime. Okay, that will be condensed. And there may be also some types of making sound, production of sound, that is called decrepitation. Okay, crystal of certain salts such as lead nitrate, whenever you will heat, okay, definitely there will be some crackling noise, okay, known as decrepitation. This is because of the breaking of the crystal. Maybe some salt during the decrystallization, it is inside this crystal. Okay. Next, another thing, there may be formation of or condensation of water vapor, like hydrated salt. Whenever you will heat, just above of the test tube in the colder region, there will be formation of water vapor. From there you can understand that your salt contains water, hydrated salt. Then there may be cases where salt melts. Okay, it may be like magnesium chloride, like ferric chloride, the derivation salt. Okay. Next, we will discuss the very important test, that is called charcoal cavity test. Now in charcoal cavity test, generally this is done for the salts like zinc, lead and copper. Okay. Here first we have to take a charcoal block, and we have to prepare a small cavity, not big, small cavity on this charcoal block. Next, we have to take our sample, okay, that is finely powdered, and equal amount of anhydrous sodium carbonate we have to mix. Then otherwise we have to mix the fusion mixture with this same amount. Okay, so sodium carbonate and salt, anhydrous sodium carbonate salt we have to mix. Then we have to take inside the charcoal cavity and moist with a drop of water, and finally we have to apply heat. Okay, generally in charcoal cavity we have to use the reducing flame. Suppose if we take the lead nitrate salt, okay, so lead nitrate first will react with sodium carbonate, then there will be formation of lead carbonate plus twice NaNO3. Then this lead carbonate will heat in the reducing flame, that will form lead oxide plus carbon dioxide gas. Okay, and next this lead oxide will react with the carbon present in the charcoal. So PbO will react with carbon forming lead free, and there will be formation of carbon monoxide. So this is the reactions, okay, under this charcoal cavity test. So what will be the color? This will be the grey bed, grey color bed will be formed. And again I am telling, this is not the confirmatory test, okay, wet test or confirmatory test. From here you can guess, okay, or you can get some valuable information to identify the salt. Suppose in place of lead nitrate you are taking copper sulfate. Copper sulfate will react with sodium carbonate and it will form the copper carbonate. Copper carbonate, when you will heat, that will form that cupric oxide. Cupric oxide again react with copper, forming the copper metal free and carbon monoxide. The copper metal will form a red bed. Okay, that in the group you will observe some red bed. Okay, so red residue will indicate that there is copper. Now if you take zinc salt, suppose you are taking zinc sulfate, when you will apply it with sodium carbonate, there will be formation of zinc carbonate. And zinc carbonate, when you will apply heat, there will be formation of zinc oxide. And zinc oxide, you know, is yellow when hot and white when it is in cold condition. So from here we will get some idea. Then we have to perform cobalt nitrate test. Cobalt nitrate test is applicable to these salts. Those will give the residue in the charcoal cavity test. Now this white residue, whatever you got, okay, if you got white residue, then you have to moist with 1 drop of water, then we have to add cobalt nitrate solution, 2-3 drops. Okay, then the residue is heated strongly in the oxidizing flame. Then in case of zinc, you will get the green mass. In case of magnesium, you will get the pink mass. In case of the aluminium, you will get the blue mass. So from this color, you can easily identify what type of salt is there. Actually, cobalt nitrate, whenever you are applying heat, it will form cobalt oxide. This cobalt oxide will combine with the zinc oxide, that will combination compound, that is ZnO, COO. So this type of combination compound will be formed. ZnO.CO. Okay, and the color of this compound will be green. And when this cobalt oxide will combine with magnesium oxide, MgOCO, that will be pink. And when it will combine with aluminum oxide, Al2O3.CO, it will be the blue color. Calcium phosphate also form blue colored compound. So from here we can easily identify the different types of cations, okay, for basic radical, okay. But again I am telling, this is not a confirmatory test. Next, all of you know about flame test. So you have to take one platinum loop. First you have to heat in the Bunsen flame properly with concentrated HCl to remove any color. Already any salt is present is there. Okay, if platinum is not giving any color, okay, and then we have to make one paste with sample, okay, with concentrated HCl, and we have to make one loop in the platinum wire. Then by touching the sample, you have to hold in the Bunsen flame. Okay, then you will get different types of colors. So this test is generally used for detection of copper, barium, strontium, calcium, etc. Okay, that is in your syllabus. So in case of calcium, you will get the brick red color. In case of copper, you will get the bluish green color. In case of barium, you will get the apple green color. And whenever you will apply heat with strontium, you will get the crimson red or deep red color. Okay. But in case of calcium, the brick red color will not persist. But in case of strontium, the color will persist. So in this way, by flame test, we can identify the cation present. Okay. But you have to confirm these cations in your group analysis by adding group reagent and proper reagent. Then you have to identify a weight test. Okay. But here you will get the idea. Okay. And this is one type of also confirmatory test, flame test. We can easily identify calcium, copper, barium, and strontium like salts. Okay. Next we will discuss the borax heat test. This test is done only for color salts. All of you know the formula of borax. Borax bead test. Borax formula is Na2B4O7.10H2. This compound is called borax. Okay. Whenever you will apply heat the borax, then there will be first formation of sodium metaborate. Okay. And there will be formation of boron trioxide, or this is called boric anhydride. Okay. Now this boric anhydride will react with the different types of salt will form different types of metaborate. Suppose it is B2O3 is reacting with nickel, then it will form nickel metaborate, and nickel metaborate is brown. If it is reacting with the iron oxide, the ferric oxide, okay, it is reacting with the B2O3, then there will be a ferric metaborate will show yellow color. Okay. And ferric metaborate, when you are reducing by carbon, it will form ferrous metaborate, that will be a green color. So in the oxidizing and reducing flame, you will get different colors. So from there you can get some valuable information that what types of compounds are present here. Okay. Next we discuss that copper type of salt. If you take copper sulfate, whenever you will apply heat with B2O3, actually you have to make one loop with platinum. Then you have to touch the borax. Then you have to heat in the Bunsen flame. When you will apply heat in the Bunsen flame, then what will happen? There will be swelling, and finally you will get a transparent bead of B2O3. Then this bead you have to touch with the salt. Then again you have to heat in the reducing flame as well as oxidizing flame. In case of copper, when we are applying this transparent bead with copper sulfate, by touching with copper sulfate, there will be formation of cupric metaborate that will be blue in color. But whenever you will heat in the reducing flame, that copper that is the cupric borate will form that cuprous metaborate that is colorless, and when it will be reduced by carbon, there will be formation of red copper. Okay, pure metal will form. So we will get red color. So from here you can easily understand that copper is present by borax bead test. Okay. Next we will discuss the caustic soda test. That is very important. Suppose in your compound containing ammonium salt. So whenever you will apply heat with the NaOH solution, this caustic soda solution, then there will be formation of ammonia gas. Okay, the formation of NaCl plus H2. So this ammonia gas having pungent smell, and it will form dense white fume with HCl gas, and it will turn natural reagent brown. So from here you can easily confirm. This is a confirmatory test for ammonia gas. Okay, you can easily confirm the ammonia gas. Okay, that is your zero group is confirmed. Next is dilute sulfuric acid test. Already you have idea from class test that if we add some dilute sulfuric acid to carbonate, definitely there will be formation of carbon dioxide gas that turns lime water milky. But if you take sulfite, SuLPHIT, that means SO3 2- group, then definitely if you add the dilute sulfuric acid, then definitely there is formation of sulfur dioxide gas. Sulfur dioxide gas will turn the lime water milky, as well as it will decolorize the KNO4 solution and turns the acidified potassium dichromate from orange to green. Okay. Next, in case of sulfite, that means H2-. Okay, that is in case of sulfide H2 minus, whenever we are salt containing sulfide, whenever you are adding acid, dilute acid, then there will be formation of H2S gas having rotten smell that turns the lead acid paper black. So in this way we can identify different types of radical, carbonate, sulfide, sulfate, nitride also we can identify by this dilute sulfurization method. If your compound containing nitride like sodium nitride or any zinc nitride, okay, then whenever you will add dilute sulfurization, it will produce NO2 gas. That NO2 gas, okay, will turns the ferrous sulfate solution black. So from in this way we can also identify the nitride. Next, we have to do concentrated sulfuric acid test. We have to take a pinch of sample in a dry test tube and we have to add concentrated sulfuric acid, then we have to apply. If you have salt containing chloride like magnesium chloride, whenever you add concentrated sulfuric acid, there will be formation of a gas. Okay, that gas definitely will be HCl gas. Okay, having pungent smell, turns moist blue litmus paper red, and whenever you will pass this gas to silver nitrate solution, definitely it will form white precipitate that will soluble in ammonium hydroxide. But if there is formation of a yellowish brown gas having a pungent irritating smell, that cannot be changed the ferrous sulfate solution, then you can tell that they are bromide, that means Br minus radical is present. But if there is formation of deep violet color, okay, definitely there will be iodine, and this the deep violet vapor with pungent smell turns the starch paper blue. Okay, that means iodide is present. Then there may be some colorless gas. Okay, there may be vinegar like smell. Then you can tell that acetate may be present. Okay, and sometimes whenever you will add concentrated sulfuric, a gas is coming out that burns with the blue flame. Definitely that carbon monoxide gas. Okay, and you can confirm that oxalate ion is present. So in this way we can be able to get some valuable information from this dye test. Okay, so whenever we go to the practical lab, then I will perform this test or demonstrate this test to you. So today up to this, and I hope that all of you have practical book, you read the theory properly. Without theoretical knowledge you cannot do practical well. Okay, so today up to this, thank you.